Hey, what's up? Astromantics is here. I didn't realize that it was recording exactly. I love that you got a sage out. Sage your shit. We about to talk about politics, which is an easy conversation. Everyone loves the topic of politics, right? Everyone, politics and religion. That's what
Actually
they
do love politics to some extent. I feel like I don't think I could ever go into it because it feels like an absolute war zone, you know. But
what?
I don't think I have thick enough skin. I know I
Oh,
don't, right?
yeah, that's right. You have more water, so there's definitely like that emotional component, right? That's hard
The
to
emotional
separate.
component
Yeah.
feels
Hmm.
like it wants change that can only happen on a political level,
Right.
right? So it
Right.
was like, candidates like Bernie Sanders made my water so happy. Like, you
Oh,
care, but he had thicker skin. I don't know what his shirt is. I do not,
I know
you
we
know.
should look at his chart. Bernie Sanders was the first candidate that I ever spent money on. Actually, I sent money to his campaign when he was running because I loved him so hard. A
I might
Bernie
have
brat.
too. I can't remember exactly, but it's like that would be the case for me also, is like the first person I felt strongly enough about to like
Yeah, first
go out of my
person
way to support.
who also I felt like I could talk to other people about, right? Like across
Right.
the political divide. I felt like Bernie Sanders was somebody who I could talk about. Is he another old white dude? Yes. Am I tired of that? Yes. But I love Bernie. So today, and actually, I wanted to talk about this too, a little bit about the credentials, my credentials, a little bit of where I come from, sort of like politically, because you can't get away from filters. So I was raised very religious, right? And I was also then, as a result, in that world, very Republican, right? Growing up, I did not vote for Obama. I did vote for Palin and McCain. Yes, I did. Shut up. So that was the era, though, right? Very fixed Aquarius for sort of they can't do that
You
to
know,
us.
that would have felt so different in a
Yeah,
pre-Donald Trump world.
yeah, right.
Right? Like
Mhm.
post Donald Trump, I'm like, McCain is not anywhere near as scary as a Republican candidate can be.
Well, you can't
Right?
now, but yes, right. Yeah,
No, I know. And
yeah. Bummer.
but yeah, it's just funny because like I think I would have thought about that as like, whoa,
Yeah.
before, right? And
Mhm.
now it's kind of perspective is a little different. I mean, I voted for Obama.
Yeah, Jeff wanted to like secretly, but was a pastor at the time, and so these are some of the things that brought us out of
Right.
that world, right? Is it was like,
Start
mm,
questioning. Right.
yeah. So as a person who's been very fixed, very pro Republican, very pro Christian, very anti abortion, right? Definitely one of those people who would have held a fucking sign outside of abortion clinics talking about killing babies. That is where I come from. That is definitely me as a protester early days. That's where I was. That's where my
Would you say you were indoctrinated into this?
of course, right? Because you know what your parents know, what your parents tell you, and that's how you roll, right? And then as you grow as an adult, you either keep going there, right, or you don't, you change it. So I have been on that side, very fixed, mind made up about abortion, about marriage, right? I was definitely an anti-gay marriage, right? Because that is how that world worked when I was growing up, right? So I was very one man, one woman, right? Very that. And so I'm so sorry, everyone, but that's really where I was. So I have a filter that I have been in my life that was
Right.
very pro Marjorie Green Taylor. I'll tell you that. I probably was very that. Um, and then now my political leanings are definitely more liberal. Definitely more liberal, right? I mean, I live in friggin' Portland. Yes, I do go to protests, right? Like, yes, right?
Right.
Yes,
Right.
yes. Yep.
Kind of a complete 180, really, in
I mean,
every
that's
single way.
yeah,
Right.
right. So I've got experience with both, is what I'm saying, right? My
Right.
filter now will definitely
You
lean
could
more.
still pull back to
Yes.
those experiences,
So I
even though
think
that's
that's
not
why
you
I love
anymore.
astrology, is so that I can do that better, right? Have
Right.
more perspective, take out that,
And I
oh,
think that Aquarius is what got you out, right? Because of the authenticity,
yeah,
the need for and so Jeff's rising, not being able to vote for like who he wanted to,
yeah,
right? It's supposed to be 100% your choice, that decision, right? It's supposed to be somewhat private event where even if like, but to feel influenced to do something that you don't want to do is a
yes,
good like, cracking point for an Aquarius where it's like, wait a minute, am not being authentic to myself. And you have an Aquarius sun, Jeff has an Aquarius rising.
right,
At a certain point, authenticity won't like won out, right?
yeah.
Like,
Conformity is not an Aquarius's strong suit,
no,
right?
yeah, yeah. And you guys both have Virgo, right?
Yeah,
And that also lends to like the purity culture that I think you're
yeah,
kind of talking about with Christianity and stuff. And so there, you had leanings both ways in your chart, right? The
hmm
two malefics in Virgo
hmm
like the idea of kind of harsh purity in a way, right?
yes,
Like being able to achieve it in a very specific way.
yeah. Put an Aries in there, right? So Mars, Aries, Mars, Virgo, Aries with Saturn, with everybody in Virgo. For me, ruling my shit. Purity is maximally the highest sort of form, right? But really, I like recently what somebody said, or the way uh authenticity is really what I was going for, is really what I'm going for, right? So when somebody's being very authentic, then I really appreciate the pure expression of what they're trying to do,
Right.
authenticity.
That won out.
So this episode is going to be a little bit political. If you get triggered by politics, maybe don't watch. Or if you do watch, tell us what triggers you. This shit can be triggering. Come down. Don't tell Mary though. Be nice, please.
Tell
uh,
me.
so we're going to be talking about two women in the House of Representatives, right? AOC, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, right? Is that how you pronounce it? Yeah, who's liberal. And then Marjorie Greene Taylor, who is the opposite, right? That's going to be more of a Republican person. Um, they recently had some beef. They had a little bit of a beef thing, a little bit of a falling out, where Marjorie Greene Taylor comments on Alexandria's maybe her eyelashes are getting in the way of her reading the shit, and then uh AOC goes, "Are we just gonna let this slide, old men?" Because there's a bunch of old men in there who are like, "Stop fighting women," kind of a thing. That's the vibe you're getting from them. And then these two women are like, "Oh no, we've got beef we gotta do," right? Apart,
Social media,
yeah,
right? That's the thing that these old white dudes don't have, really, is
no. They have, and
the
they have an old man's club, right? There's an old man's club of how to do this. But then also you get stuck because it's so passive aggressive, where these two ladies are a little less passive aggressive. I mean, they still can be, but and a little more into it. And there was another congresswoman too, and I'm forgetting her name right now. I think her last name was Chapman. Damn, but she goes, I think we're glossing over that Marjorie just insulted Alexandria, and we're just going to gloss over it. She goes, what if I said, beach blonde, bad body? What if I said those things to Marjorie Taylor? And then Marjorie Taylor's like, woo, bitch. Like, basically, everybody gets up, right? And it was like, you don't like it when it happens to you. Don't do it to somebody else, like, and they were bringing that up. Normally, it's like, just let the white lady win, let her say what she wants,
right,
you
right. There's a
know?
certain amount of looking past it,
Yeah, right?
where it's like the political leaders,
No.
right? We're getting to a point of hurling insults and name calling. It's like, yeah, like what the hell?
Yeah, right? So the first, I want to show you the chart of Marjorie Taylor Greene before I show you her picture, Mary, to save you from the immediate, because once you see her picture, you're going to be like, oh my God, you're right. I don't like this person. Again, we are more leaning liberal. I'm looking at this with an Aquarius perspective, which is, sort of a higher perspective. We're trying to gain logical, sound sort of chart reasoning for why a person is the way they are. So you can know their struggles, so you can know what they're good at, so you can know why they are the way they are. So let's look at Marjorie's chart really quick. And then we'll go from there. Boom. Okay. So this is Marjorie Taylor Greene's chart. We don't know her houses because we don't know what time. So I pulled it up so that we don't have the houses present. Immediately when I see this chart, I think of who do I know who has Uranus, Pluto, and Libra? Who do I know who has Saturn, Mars, Cancer, or those placements, right? Who do I know who has Gemini? So I can start identifying those parts of myself. My first thought, the first thing that I noticed for her is these very problematic malefics here, right? We've got Mars in Cancer in its fall, right? Has a really hard time, right? Sort of boiling the ocean, right? Feels motivated by maternal things, right? And then also severs,
Right.
from connectivity. And then we've got Saturn here, who is in its detriment in the sign of Cancer. She got both malefics here, and neither one of them can help her out when it comes to likability, in that way. Now, this is a person who holds grudges. Saturn in Cancer holds grudges. My daughter has a Saturn in Cancer, right? I have another friend who has a Saturn in Cancer. These are people who also are interested in politics, They love old ladies. They like older people. My daughter goes to church because she loves old grandmas, right? So we've got sort of the boundaries of a grandma or the, so this person would have a hard time. They want to be the source, right? Cancer likes to be the source. So it is my duty to provide, Saturn in Cancer, right? It's my duty to be the source of. I feel motivated by it, in fact, right? I know it's really hard.
This is so challenging.
Yeah.
Right? You taking the hardest, right?
Yeah.
Hottest, most
coldest,
potentially confrontational
right,
planets and putting them in a soft, oceany, maternal
yeah,
place, right? It's like couldn't be a harder match in a way, right? Like putting them together, rough.
Yes.
Putting either one of those individually in Cancer, rough. Right? Let's make it all together. Yikes. Like that is.
Let's make it hard to connect on an emotional level.
And then what does that say potentially about home life, I wonder?
So to me, it gives single mom vibes, and maybe mom was in military, or mom was maybe a little bit harsh, strict, right? We've got Saturn, maybe
structure, boundaries.
Right. So there's a strictness to the home life, to nurturing, and there's a Mars, suck it up, buttercup, right? That's what we've got.
And then that Chiron and Aries.
Yeah, Chiron with Venus in Aries. So Venus is also in detriment here. Venus is asked to love via fighting, right?
Oh my God.
Venus
and then
is
all of that across from Uranus.
Yeah, right. So I need independence too, right?
And a retrograde Uranus.
Yeah, right.
So more inward chaos.
What'd you say?
a more inward like chaos, right?
Yeah. Extreme too. Pluto retrograde extremifies
Oh
it.
my God.
It's also
This is kind of an extreme chart.
yeah, yes. So I have a friend who has a Saturn in Cancer and also has a Pluto Uranus in Libra. Excellent at networking. They're excellent at networking. They're excellent at getting funding too, is the other thing that I've noticed with that person in particular. Of course, that person has a Scorpio sun rather than a Gemini, other people's resources, but still pretty good at networking. This person also might struggle with weight or obesity. When I see Saturn, because Mars has a hard time here feeling motivated, and Saturn also it's quick initiative. So I might start it quickly, but then also just as quickly not follow through, because Cardinal starts, initiates, but has a harder time maintaining, right?
Right.
So that's another thing. And this person, I mean, you've got this is hard connectivity. We have a Jupiter in Pisces, so this person's beliefs matter to them a lot, right? It's in a square to Neptune, so can't transcend with that Jupiter, right? Like,
right.
It's harder to see.
Also retrograde.
Yeah. Right.
That's a lot of planets going inward.
Yeah.
At the same time. Generational planets.
Right. Right.
I mean, these are slow moving planets, right?
Yeah.
They stay in retrograde for a minute and then they stay out of retrograde for an even hotter minute.
Right. I've got a Pluto in Libra, like Marjorie does. So a crisis around making extremes make sense. Right. Also going to have a crisis around individuality, right? Individuality with others, in relationship to others.
Relationships, yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting combo just right off the bat that it's a Gemini, she's a Gemini sun and Mercury.
Yeah.
Right. That tells me probably really intelligent,
yes,
fast moving, quick thinking
right.
person, right?
Write a
Probably
book.
especially as like a kid.
Right.
But then if home life was structured and strict, right? That usually doesn't bode well for the curious kids that are like quick thinking, right?
Yes. Right.
Already. And then with a Leo moon, you want to be seen, right? You want emotions to be seen. You want space. You want to take up space with a Leo moon in a way, right? You want to allow emotions to,
right. Right.
And
yeah, to
with
be
a
witnessed.
quick Gemini,
Yeah.
you would kind of want people to see your quickness, right?
Mm-hmm.
Quick wit. But then you think that what a problematic home area though.
Yeah. Right.
And so it's, as I just think that this is kind of an interesting mix up for a childhood, right? I would be very curious to know.
Yes.
One, how curious this child was. Yeah. But also as an adult, right? There's a youthfulness almost, maybe an unwillingness to grow up, I wonder, a little bit.
Yeah, there's a juvenileness.
Right.
When I say this, I don't want to vilify it. That's what I'm trying to stay away from, right? Try to be objective about a chart, but Gemini, Aries, right, Taurus, it's spring. There is a capacity to be kind of immature. Right.
Right.
Kind of
it's youthful, right? It's not even a slight so much as a descriptor, right?
But a naivete, there is a naivete that comes with
yeah.
Yeah.
But that also comes with youthfulness.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So you would say that about Aries too, right? It's like naive young fire.
Yes.
and that's okay, right? And then that's, you get more mature as the wheel goes on. So yeah, it is hard because there's a negative connotation with
Yeah,
some of these words,
right.
when astrology doesn't look at it as good or
No.
bad,
And I
right?
think,
It's a description.
yes. And the more you can identify with people that you love, especially so if you know people who have placements like a person who you don't like, it kind of can help with that compassion piece, right? To be like, oh, they don't know they're doing this. So this person has Mars in Cancer, like my husband, whom I love, right? This is very moody, right? This Cancer is, if it feels like it's not helping, or if it feels like it's not being the source, it's motivated by being the source of something, it feels fulfilled. There's a fulfillment when Mars in Cancer is taking action on momming stuff. And if it's robbed of that, then it kind of doesn't like it. My mother has a Mars in Cancer and a Venus in Aries. So we've also got here somebody who, one, kind of likes to be the person who inspires somebody to get up out of the mire, right? Get up out of the mire, right? Aries,
That
Venus
would also be enjoying the clashing, right?
would need it. In fact, you're not showing me attraction if you're not pushing back on me, right?
Right.
I can't find harmony unless someone's pushing back on me, right? Like,
I need it to grow in a way,
yes,
right?
doesn't
Um,
like pathetic, right? Um, fucking get over it is what a Mars in Cancer Venus has. And also, if they show compassion, they feel like they're enabling. I don't want to enable pathetic behavior, is what it gives when it's in a dark place, right? Um, but I talked with Danny Santos recently, and he's
this
got
is
a Venus Mars here, right?
that
Yeah,
gives
go.
me, before we go to Danny, that gives me
Yeah.
kind of Ron Swanson-y vibes, right?
Yes.
Kind of a pull yourself up by your bootstraps.
Yes, right? Like, come on, son, right?
Yeah, and like if you give if you give a man a fish versus if you teach him
Yeah.
how to fish, and then Ron Swanson's quote is like, "Don't do anything. He's a grown man, and fishing isn't that hard." Right? There's
Yes.
like a zero tolerance for anything deemed kind of pathetic, or right?
Yes.
Yeah,
Also doesn't handle feelings well. So if I get mushy, for example, with my mom, um, and it's like emotional, no, she's like, I gotta go. Like she doesn't like that,
right.
I found. Meanwhile, Danny,
Your mom is Ron Swanson,
yeah, oh, definitely. She's got a Taurus moon, real Ron Swanson in that.
right? Were you raised by Ron Swanson?
Yes, probably. I know
Okay, so
he's got more.
Danny,
Yeah. So Danny also has that Aries, Venus, and Mars in Cancer, but has learned how to deal with it with his Pisces way, which is shamanism, which is um let's take some mushroom and get connected. He doesn't have the same sort of stuff. He's got
right,
double Pisces, so he's looking for the similarities. Whereas
right.
this person has Jupiter here. So Jupiter, I've noticed that the benefics in Pisces can be a little assumptive. Like my Venus in Pisces assumes you want to hear about my stuff.
Right.
Soon, you know. And so I've noticed that there's a little bit of an
But
entitlement
your
privilege.
Venus in Pisces also charms people into wanting to know those things.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
maybe it's a little presumptuous, but it's also because there's such a pattern of interest, right?
Mhm. Yeah.
So yep, there's certain magnetism with Pisces, and then you put Venus there,
Yeah.
very magnetic. So it's not often that you would meet people that wouldn't want to hear more or wouldn't be like, right?
Right.
And so I don't know if it's as much presumption as it is kind of a recognition of patterns by your Aquarius. Okay. But I would think Jupiter Pisces would also have a certain amount of luck, right? A certain amount of charm, or like get away with stuff, or like get
Yes.
hidden, right?
Yes.
I don't know.
Yeah. Charm and getting away with stuff. Yeah, totally. So to recap, Miss Marjorie Taylor Greene, we've got a Gemini Mercury, right? This is youthful thinking, young thinking, a storyteller, trickster, right? A little bit relayer of messages, right? Maybe somebody likes to write books. We've got a Saturn Mars.
Inner World is a movie. Right?
Inner World is a movie, right? Yeah, kind of loves to be on a stage for that, right? Do you do eye makeup, Marjorie Taylor? Are you jealous of AOC's eyelashes? Then just kidding. But like,
Yeah,
yeah,
you noticed the eyelashes.
I know, right? So we've got a Leo moon. Emotions need to be seen when a Leo moon. So when this person's huffy, you see it, right? This is going to be a visible. They're probably going to say it out loud. Probably
You're
going to
gonna
say,
feel it. If this
yeah,
person was in a bad mood,
yeah,
you would feel that moodiness, that Cancer. It has an ability to radiate through the room.
yes.
It has an ability to be felt. It doesn't have to say anything.
No, that's totally right. Right?
You were along for the ride in this ocean of mood swings when you had the Cancer around, and especially two malefics in Cancer.
and then put behind a hot and a cold, right? In Cancer, right? And then put in
This is
whole,
a chart of extremes, really, right?
yeah, yeah, yes, yes, yes. And then so and we've got a Sun square Jupiter. That is Sun has a hard time giving Jupiter its warmth, and Jupiter giving the Sun its wisdom, because there's a square here, right?
That yeah, they don't work together. As well
Yes.
as they
And then
could
Jupiter
or
and
should.
Neptune don't work together, even though Jupiter is in charge here. And we have a North Node in Sagittarius. This means that this person needs, there is something about them that needs to lean into being valorous about transcendence, maybe, all right?
But like, this
Mhm.
is also kind of an extreme, right? Because you're saying South Node is in Gemini, where they have their Sun and Mercury,
Yeah.
right? So
Yeah.
how do you honor your North Node, right?
Mm-hmm.
And and honor all of that Gemini. You
Yeah.
would have to maintain your curiosity and be open-minded and teaching and traveling to places, right? To be inspired, right? Because like
Yeah.
Sag is noble, right? So it's
Right.
not enough to just travel. You have to, it's like open-minded travel, right? Philosophical travel. So that's yeah, that but her then you have Neptune there,
Mm-hmm.
right? So you can imagine, but it
Mm-hmm.
also makes it foggy,
Yes.
right? Where should I go? But why?
So what happened with me to get out of Christianity, to get out of the more rigid, fixed mindset I had early in life, is I did travel. I did travel to other countries and went, oh my gosh, I'm not right. Right. It's what aided me in knowing, right. Um, it's not just me, you know. You feel like you're transcendent with the mind. Of course, everyone thinks this. Everyone thinks this is noble. Everyone imagines the same way I imagine, you know. But really, until you travel, then you're like, oh no, I'm actually wrong about that. Anyway, so that's
Yeah,
this
which is
person's
really
chart.
interesting.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we've got Mercury, Saturn. That's like, and squaring Pluto. So we've got extreme words and extreme boundaries, right? Like it's gonna extremify their relationships, their words, and how they nurture or have a hard time doing so, right? Okay, so just in case
So let's see.
this is who this
Yeah.
person is. This is a picture,
Oh,
Marjorie
what a
Green
Karen.
Taylor. If you're listening to this audio, then you can look her
Karen
up,
in the
be where you might.
dictionary.
Yeah, if you are a liberal at all, you will feel triggered even by her face, right? There will be something about it that's like, oh my gosh, right? Uh, she's known for being mouthy, right? She's known for sort of speaking the truth in a way, right? But yeah, that's what we're known for. I bet she has I bet she has struggled with eating disorders in her life because every Mars in Cancer in Saturn that I know also does. So she's got some struggles here. All right, let's look at AOC's chart. AOC, everybody like mostly knows her. She's so sweet. But she can be fierce. Hello, we'll look at her chart too. Naturally, I'm gonna have a more fond reaction to AOC as I'm on,
I like how
team
you're
A.
like, ethically, I am going to acknowledge my bias
Yes,
towards
because
AOC.
that is important.
She is awesome.
I love her. But yeah, no, right? This is important, right? I know she was a waitress. I can't say I know a whole bunch, uh, but yeah, I know that about her. So let's look at
Fierce.
her
I think fierce. Yeah.
fierce, right?
I've
Yes.
never seen her chart. I'm excited.
So this is her
Oh,
chart.
so we have a birth time.
We do. We have a birth time for her, but it's A rating, which means it's from memory. So this could change a little bit, but it's pretty much in the middle here. So even an hour or two on either side, she could still be a Sag rising.
So she has Sag rising, Sag Venus, Sag Eros, and this would all be conjunct her North Node and Neptune.
Yeah.
So does that not tell you maybe like meant to
Yeah.
right? Like kind of a faded.
Right. So you're
Ashla
seeing
mark?
Eros here and you see Venus and AC,
Yeah.
right?
I'm just thinking mostly AC and Venus. I'm
Yes.
not so much thinking Eros, but
Mm-hmm.
Venus being connectivity and AC being body and
Right.
soul, and
Right.
it being next to her North Node, like
But
there's a
where's her
faded.
North Node is in Aquarius.
No, I'm talking about Marjorie's North Node.
Oh, Marjorie's North Node, right? So because Marjorie's North Node in Sagittarius. I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
Thank you. I was like, oh, what?
So it's like, is that faded, right? Is this faded to some extent?
Yes, like they're meant to, and then Arya Sasio they both have fire Venuses, right? Marjorie's is in a harder place for Venus to be in to show compassion or care. The way I do that is by fighting, by being the one to save, by being the one to, right, inspire. And then we've got a Venus. So this Venus, though, in Sagittarius is comfortable with travel. It's comfortable with other cultures, wants to bring harmony, right, to other cultures. And then, hello,
Right,
Libra,
right.
everybody.
Oh my God, the Libra. Yeah.
The Libra party in an Aquarius house, right?
Oh my God. And the Cancer Chiron
Triggering.
sitting with those fucking malefics.
Yeah.
But then Jupiter,
that's
bigger,
that's
almost like
right.
bigger wounds.
Yes.
Right.
But also Jupiter is exalted in Cancer. So Jupiter wants to be the source of optimism and care, right? She's got mother wounds here, right? Chiron tells us she does have wounds for mothers, around being a mother, maybe, you know. But Jupiter here is like maximally awesome. So Marjorie
Right. Soothes it to some extent.
yes, right? But still bigger.
But oh man, but so this particular cocktail of Cancer mixing with a Saturn and a Mars Cancer,
Yes.
they will boil the sea,
And
especially with them both having fire moons.
Yes. Fire moons, fire Venuses.
And that's sitting across from all of her Libra.
That's right. Yes.
And her MC is Libra.
Yes.
Here's the difference. AOC was made to do this.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? Like
AOC is feels motivated by justice. Right.
Intrinsically, right? Like the motivation is way more pure in Libra. Yeah. Because you care about balance and social justice and harmony. You care about those things for the right reasons.
Right.
Right. And then that's already the MC. Now we're going to communicate in it. Now we're going to function in it. Now we're going to have vitality. Right. Like,
and also feel like an outcast for your views. And betrayed.
Yeah. Black Moon. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mars.
Oh, but look at that Taurus set up there in resources.
Oh yeah, the second house, which is hers is Capricorn, but the overlay is Taurus, right?
Capricorn, yeah.
Yeah. So that definitely puts, and it's also opposite Marjorie Taylor Greene's Saturn. So they go
Oh my
about
God.
boundaries differently,
Opposite Saturns.
right? They go about life purpose differently.
Right.
Both have an eye on business, both have an eye on mommy daddy vibes, if you will, right? Daddy, Capricorn, mommy, Cancer, right? Um, but yes. And then she's got that millennial build up there, which
Mm-hmm.
Marjorie Taylor Greene and her generations, view all millennials as incapable of being decisive, right? Or incapable of seeing the benefit of tradition, right? Even though this stellium totally does, because Saturn is in Cap.
Well, right, because if you break up this stellium, right, this
Right,
generational stellium,
right.
when we have these together,
Mm-hmm.
Saturn, Uranus, Neptune,
Mm-hmm.
right, it is kind of the fuck the man bringing down the system, right? It's a little bit of like unconventional, hardworking,
Yes.
maybe stoned,
Yeah. However you make that money, honey. Yeah.
but it's kind of rebellious and hardworking all at the same time,
Right.
right? And
Yes.
when you separate these out, her Saturn, life's purpose, Cancer,
Mm-hmm.
right? Some fulfillment around nurturing,
Mm-hmm.
right? But when you have a Saturn and a Mars there,
Right.
that's hard, right?
Right. Right.
Literally hard, not soft. And
Yeah.
so that's um that challenge number one, right?
Yeah. There's a
I
massive
would say this
challenge.
stellium is challenging, but not as challenging as all of hers are individually.
Yeah. Yeah. Totally.
Because like, and then you put the, Neptune in Sag, which I know from you,
Mm-hmm.
right, has a lot to do with um like belief and imagination and like kind of, you know, worldlier
Right.
imagination,
Yes.
right? Um, and then where was her Uranus? Was
Marjorie's Uranus is in with Pluto.
Oh God, so her Uranus is conjunct all of AOC's
Yeah. And power struggle
Libra.
Pluto, right? So we've got Pluto falling in here and Uranus, which is like shake up and extremify.
That Uranus is a lightning bolt right to the,
Yeah.
like Black Moon Lilith outcast,
Yeah.
or something, like it's
Yes. Mm-hmm. Yes. Yeah, so you've got Pluto, and Pluto gives power struggles as well. So her Pluto is sitting right opposite her moon in Aries, right? Which I have natally. So my whole life I've had to learn how to balance my extreme feelings, right? My sort of extreme inner world. I have the benefit of having to try to balance those things out, right?
right,
Don't be so extreme. It's not extremely this or extremely that.
right,
Where's the balance, right? Um, so the power struggles, you drop Pluto in here and Uranus, and Marjorie's job is to shake up and fuck with AOC, right?
right. Coming in and just kind of shaking up those scales that have to rebalance,
Yes.
right? Like earthquaking it a little.
Right. And Mars has a hard time being in Libra because Mars is asked to fight with flowers,
I
right?
feel like there is so much faded
Yeah.
rivalry here.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
You know,
Yeah.
it's interesting, when you overlap these, like the particular things that are in common, that they have in common are um
This is
yeah,
the
like you
overlap.
have it ready.
Of course I
Is
do.
AOC in the middle? Yeah,
Yeah.
because she's Sag, right? Okay.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this feels so faded to
Mm-hmm.
me.
Yeah.
Um,
Node AC. Jupiter, Saturn, right? Like AOC
I
could
wish we could see
really.
Vertex.
Oh yeah,
I
I know. Yeah, they don't have that on here. So this Jupiter in Cancer is exalted, so does have the capacity to make or ease this Saturn Mars conjunction. It's a strong one, but there is an ability for this person to, if they are looking at their own wounds, if they are dealing with their wounds around nurturing, right? If AOC is pursuing, you know, her, then this won't trigger her so much. But an unhealed Chiron fucking triggered, right?
and you got a South Node in there too that we can't see, but that is in
Yeah.
Cancer
Right.
for Marjorie.
Right. Yeah. So yeah,
Which
South Node.
which South Node and uh Chiron also gives me some faded vibes.
You've done this before.
You've heard each
Gotta
other
heal
before.
this. Yes, yes, yes. Maybe in a mother-daughter way or in a, right?
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, because of all that Cancer.
Right. We both got fire moons. I like this because an Aries moon wants to fight. Aries Venus wants to fight. Right.
And then he gets triggered by it.
Yeah, baby. So
But loves it. Triggered
yeah,
by it, but loves it.
yeah. So we've got a moon Venus together is kind of nice. This also gives mother daughter vibes, right? A moon is mother nurturing, and then the Venus is also how we want to harmonize and unify. Like if they could just be allowed to push on each other. So AOC has a sun in Libra in its fall, right? Like so that's why the emphasis is taken off of them and wants to be more on the collective. What does everyone agree on? And what's the just way to do this? But Libra
Right.
can be pushy, right? Libra can be like, bitch, what'd you say? You know, a little that Aries moon, you know, Libra access. So Libra
That
can
means
push.
quite a bit of balance had to be had, like
Yeah.
inherently,
Yeah.
right? To be able to balance the fire
Mm-hmm.
of the Aries and the scales and
Yeah.
the need for beauty and calmness of Libra. You would have had to achieve some amount of balance between those two.
Yeah.
I mean, you have heavy hitters on both sides.
Yes.
Right. So you have access to both.
Yes.
Which I think lends itself really well because that's the thick skin that you need
Yeah.
for politics, right? AOC's Aries moon
Yes.
and you would be uniquely
Equipped. Yeah.
for that kind of clash, for that kind of constant battle, right? And in her case, she's battling for social justice, right? Where her all of that, and then in Marjorie's case, Pluto's there, right? So an uncovering, right, a transformation,
right,
and then Uranus, which makes it chaotic.
Right.
That's where I think. I mean, I think Marjorie's curious, right? And that's great.
Yeah.
But I don't think she's as suited for politics, right?
No.
Because of you see AOC's motivation right here.
You're right.
Authentic, genuine, what you're kind of built to do is create balance.
Right.
Right. And be fierce in the pursuit of it.
Right.
Marjorie needs to be nurturing in some way.
But it's hard. That's a struggle to be nurturing. So Marjorie feels like she's got the back of grandma's.
But shouldn't she work with kids? She's got a Leo moon. She's got a Saturn in Cancer.
Yeah.
Yeah, Mars there. Ouch, right? Like it has to boil the sea. I get it.
Right.
But like when I look at that chart, that's politics isn't the career I see here.
Right.
Not as a natural fit. The Aries wounds and Venus means you like the fight, but you get hurt by it.
Yeah.
It triggers you.
And you get egotistical about it. So Aries is the self. So of course what I think is what everyone thinks.
And then all that Gemini. This screams youthful, right? This screams work with youth in some way.
Right. Mm-hmm.
That's what all of this says to me.
Right.
And so I don't see politician in here
Mm-hmm.
the same way, right? I see a
Right.
complete imbalance between these two in terms of career.
Yeah. Or this person would make a good nurse, maybe. I mean, so both malefics make it like difficult to be nurturing, right? They're really hard on themselves. They're really hard on their body. They're really hard on feelings, right? Uh,
Yeah.
there's a desire to disconnect and go cold on connectivity.
But like internationally, maybe, right? That North Node in Sag, right? Go
Mm-hmm.
abroad to
Yeah.
help children,
Yeah.
right? Yeah, it's hard. Let them rip your heart out and
Mm-hmm.
then you go help them,
Right.
right? That's the intrinsic motivation here in Cancer.
Right. Mm-hmm.
If she was putting that into a political work, I could see that maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know
Oh,
what
I wonder
her.
if she has children as a thing on her, what she runs for against or whatever, or, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So I was thinking we could talk about ways in which they could maybe get along, right? Um, and other stuff, right? Um, so automatically I look for sort of where is the friction and where is the agreement? And there's not a lot to work with here. We've got Uranus, Neptune, Saturn opposite Saturn, right? Like that's a whole lot of opposition, a whole lot of heavy hitter oppositions here. Jupiter, yay. Could you make a home cooked meal for Marjorie? And her Jupiter falls into Aristoteles' fourth house, so
But holds grudges, so would poison it, you know?
yeah, yeah. Would poison it, right? No matter what you gave, that was good. Uh it's a hard chart. Marjorie's got a hard,
She's got, I mean,
you
that's a
know,
tough chart.
it's
Yeah.
really
It's a
hard.
chart of extremes.
Yeah, right. And so when I see squares, so we've got okay, that's her own square. So Pluto control issues with what she's saying here and in her career at work, right? We've got control. Marjorie wants to control, and the way that she controls is by throwing curveballs, right? Shake that shit up, because they want their way. So that is something that a Pluto, Uranus, and Libra, they are inventive about how to control or how to get their way. I have seen this,
Mm-hmm.
and then a Mars in Libra has a hard time being decisive, and then also even when things are going well in relationship, will still find a way to fight about it. So like Mars in Libra is still a hard thing to have, like
Right.
because yes, you're
In your 11th
motivated.
house,
Yeah.
community,
Yeah, right. So like,
right next to your sun.
yeah. This
So it
also,
becomes part of your vitality, right?
yeah,
Like the fight.
yes. I wonder if they both grew up in like, so Jupiter gives good, and then Sun Mars conjunctions can be like maybe Alexandria had um not a whole lot of respect for her father, or felt like maybe I like him, right? We get along, but there's also I wish he wouldn't say the things he says. Sometimes it could be a little. So Libra hates rudeness. Libra hates impoliteness. Libra is the sign of beauty, so definitely likes beauty trends, right? You know, and so then we've got sort of this a Gemini who doesn't care so much. I'm looking for the blue lines, right? Okay, so Mercury to Neptune. No, not really.
I'm not sure we're going to find a lot of ways to do that because I think that it's kind of a battle that was pre-written.
Yeah, that's kind of meant to have. Normally, I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
it's not impossible. We've got a Marjorie Sun Gemini in a sextile to the moon here, so if they could get on the same page, right? If they could friendship
They could be two
infighting,
sides of the same coin.
if they
in a
could be
way.
allowed to fight, if they could be allowed to
Put them in a boxing ring.
yeah, right. And then just verbally have it out and then say when somebody gave a good move, right? Afterwards, like, oh, I like that. Or I thought it was interesting that she said that. It made me reflect this way. I'm trying to think of like idealistic, but right. We've got a Jupiter enshrined to Jupiter. They can come together with optimism in some way. They can do it. There is a way. Yes, you're fighting uphill with these malefics here, right? Not easy. But you can imagine a way, right? We've got Sun trine Sun, right? They are in air signs. You can be intellectual about this. You can be curious about this, right? You can find balance with that curiosity. You can be curious and be curious, please, about how to work this shit out because that's what you're here to do. If these people could just fight, say what was good about the fight, they would come together, right? There could be some sort of understanding.
Maybe.
In my idealistic lens.
Maybe. The grudge holding could interfere.
Yeah. I mean, so all in all, right? It's like know to have this is a way that you can use astrology to be like, oh, this person doesn't think the way I think. Oh, this person does think.
Look, I have compassion for Marjorie because that's an extreme chart.
That's an extreme chart.
You know, I don't know anything about her, but I know that that's difficult.
Yeah.
Right. That you were put here. The things that you agreed to do. Yeah. In this lifetime were going to be conflicting and hard. You know.
Yes, and you're going to have to find self-compassion, right, in order to extend it, because you're really hard on your feelings, you know, like, but also your beliefs are just because Jupiter in domicile in that Pisces, and then, you know, Aristotio, right? Yeah, Aries
I think
moon, you're not going to.
Marjorie needs to go to another country and help kids. That's
yeah,
what I think.
And then that might like help. And then Aristotio, I don't know, realizing that she also likes to fight. I don't know, you know, and that you're pushy, right? There's a pushiness that comes with Libra. There is a manipulation, you know, aspect that comes with Libra because there is a wanting to get their way. There is a that. But Libra naturally, though, is active and cardinal. She's all cardinal, if you notice too. Aristotio, she's Cancer, Cap. Libra. Yeah, I did see that's what she is. So she's like, let's do this already. So patience won't be her strong suit, you know. Waiting won't be. Which is good.
I think that lends well to the natural politician that I see.
Yes, but have a fight after you come back from abroad.
Yeah.
You know, right? Something like that. Well, thanks for joining me, Mary, and looking at, you know, difficult charts. I hope that this definitely, you know, inspires others to think about it, look about it. You know, it's hard, yes, to do, but, you know.
This is your Pisces Venus trying to smooth everything, and then also your Libra Pluto trying to find.
Trying to also control with, do you see how this could be fixed?
Yeah.
With astrology, Aquarius.
This is your optimism in a way, which is good, right? There's way astrology can really lend to two extremes. There still being commonality, or understanding, or compassion. Right?
Yeah, and accept, yes, you want to fight, Marjorie. Accept that, damn girl, you had a kind of challenging upbringing, right? Like, you know, you had a tough.
I'm curious. I would love to know what
that
childhood was like.
Yeah, right. Like respect your elders, but it's not a respecting of the elders. It's they do what they say you're supposed to. Anyway, yeah, it's rough. So maybe this will give you. My next thing is I would love to figure out who has Aquarius. Like who's a Republican who could talk to Ocasio-Cortez, like their chart. And then who is a Democrat that could have easier time talking to Marjorie? Like what Democrat has a lot of Cancer, you know, Sun, what
think-
Republican has Libra.
See, that's funny. I don't think I care enough about politics. Yeah.
And like, let's find help. Let's find, a way to make that wheel come, work together. But that's obviously my very idealist.
I think there's so much ego in politics that it's hard to feel like something that could potentially help.
Yeah.
Would mean taking constructive criticism, and that doesn't feel inherently welcome.
No, you definitely get like fighters in there, right? And Libra is good, but Libra also has a hard time making decisions. So it's like if you had all Libras, would anything get done? You know what I mean, right? Like would anything, and if you
be very harmonious.
I know, right?
All right, I gotta go.
Yeah, I love you. I love you so hard.
You.
Thank you so much for joining me, Mary. I love you. In the comments, if you are offended, sorry, not
let us know.
Yeah. All right. Bye.